what do you think that they was doing? Like as far as like the Seven Village, they had came out, and I peeped it that they was came out to actually see what Kawaki was doing. I thought they would have been studying more Boruto because Gaara was talking about killing him because if he turned into a full Osusuki or if he turned into Momoshiki. So what do you think they was doing there?
Yeah,
Studying
definitely. Yo,
Kawaki.
first thing, the thing with Boruto, I feel like Gar and everybody else would be a little bit hesitant to actually like spy on Boruto. I think it wouldn't necessarily be that obvious because that's a little bit closer to Naruto. Even though Naruto views Kawaki as a son, I feel like if Kawaki, I mean not Kawaki, I feel like if Naruto like kind of realizes that someone's actually snooping around trying to spy on Boruto and even potentially assassinate him to completely eliminate the threat altogether, that would be a completely other thing. But because we understand that Kawaki is just a mystery, largely, no one really knows him. He hasn't necessarily been to
Mm-hmm.
the sand, the mist, the cloud. He hasn't necessarily been to the hidden stone village. None of those villages. They've never seen him. I don't even think they know what he looks like unless they shared a picture or something like that. I think it's more likely and more acceptable for them to actually start spying on Kawaki and seeing exactly what he is, what he looks like, how strong is he, other stuff like that. But Boruto, I think again that would be completely off limits. Kawaki, I could completely understand, and of course, Gaara being the first one to do it, someone who already stood up to Naruto before, someone who already stood up to the Hidden Leaf Village, doesn't necessarily care what Naruto thinks, even though rightfully so he would get demolished by Naruto. He himself has always put the Hidden Sand Village first. For him to do something like that, it makes the most sense. But in
Mm-hmm.
regards to their actual trust of Naruto, I think everything is cool. I think everything is cool. Naruto would completely understand if they did actually come and try to scope out Kawaki. I just think it would be completely different if he came to actually scope out and potentially even assassinate Boruto.
So you don't think they was on some evil shit? Gara,
Nah,
you don't think Gara was on some
nah,
evil shit? He going back to his roots?
nah. Nah, I doubt it. See, the thing about Gaara and Naruto, what makes it so difficult for them to actually become evil, they've actually had a connection with the tailed beast. Now,
Mm.
it's kind of different in Gaara's case, but in Naruto's case, he had to become completely pure for him to actually build that connection with Karma, not necessarily have the trust of Karma, but actually use his chakra and actually get the chakra mode. If you recall, he did actually go through that the whole thing when there was the fourth grade Shinobi War. Naruto was kind of being hidden from that. And he was training with Killer B. He actually faced his negative self, and he had to actually defeat his negative self. Because of that, I don't really think that Naruto would actually be an evil person. It's similar with Gaara. He himself actually has a relationship with his tailed beast, the one tailed Shikaku. I don't really think that he had to like fight his evil self, but I think that that connection wouldn't really happen if Gaara still kind of had some evil ideals. So because of that, I can't really see Gaara or Naruto actually becoming evil. I think if it would be some other Kages, it would be like the three other Kages. It wouldn't be those two Kages.
Got you. Yeah, no, I know, I figured, but I just want to add some spice into it. Hopefully they, they go back to OG Gara and we get some, dark shit. But
No,
we'll see.
I feel you. I feel you. See, the thing about the whole situation, I think that Naruto has to understand that people aren't necessarily going to take his word with everything.
Everything,
And
yeah.
even the fans out here, like people are still not really taking Naruto's word. I remember the first time when in the manga this happened, when Naruto was like, "Yo, we're just gonna have Kawaki pull up to the Hidden Leaf Village. He's gonna stay in the Hidden Leaf Village." Everybody, the fans, everybody was bugging. They were like, "Yo, Naruto is crazy. What is he doing?" And of course, eventually, we found out that that right there was definitely the right decision. But even the fans didn't completely understand it. And even Shikamaru at that time, still, even right now, Shikamaru still doesn't understand it. So of course, if people in the Hidden Leaf Village, and of course the fans don't even really completely get it, he'd have to understand. Well, he himself not necessarily understand, not necessarily knowing that that fans don't understand, but people of his advisors like Shikamaru don't understand. He has to obviously think that other Kages out there are probably not necessarily going to completely understand it either.
Right. No, that's facts. So hold on real quick, Mello just hit me. What do you think science is going to play a role, in the future? Like we was talking about Denki's suit, like if he made it a little bit more conspicuous, as far as being smaller and not so bulky and shit like that. Do you think that Katasuke, that's how you say his name, Katasuke, he going to like
Yeah.
elaborate on Denki's suit, try to make it what we're saying, a little bit more conspicuous, or do you think they just going to drop this shit from the whole series?
No, I think they are. Yo, to be honest, I think they're completely underutilized in scientific technology. The first thing, though, Denki's suit was what Denki built. That didn't necessarily come from Katasuke. I think that Katasuke's scientific technology now is a lot more upgraded than that right there. But this right here, because this was completely built from Denki, he's not necessarily going to have he's not really going to have scientific technology as fine tuned and as polished as like a Katasuki or even as an Amato. But you asked the question, where do I think the scientific technology is going to go? I think
Mm-hmm.
as of right now, they're completely underutilizing it. I think Genin should be using it a lot more frequently, especially because Amato's actually in the Hidden Leaf Village. Now I talked about the actual importance of Sumire a little bit earlier, well, a couple months ago, I believe. But I think that Amato could potentially like modify and build cyborgs out of actual Genins and have them on the level of like a Boruto and a
Mm-hmm.
Kawaki. We understand that Kawaki is still a cyborg, but he's not necessarily completely overpowered. Kawaki still, as we've seen, got completely washed by Shinki. I feel like some of the other characters should be kind of modified to potentially be on Boruto's level. Now, again, if Boruto surpasses Naruto, that's completely out the window. But I think that other characters shouldn't really get phased out like how they did in Naruto. If Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi, though that was the main four, well, alongside Obito, though that was the main four really fighting against Madara. I think now, because of the advent of scientific technology, that shouldn't be the case. I think they should all kind of similarly be on the same level as of right now. Now, in the future, of course, I think that other characters, like side characters, like even Sarda, which we're not completely sure she's actually going to be on the level of Boruto. If she gets augmented by scientific technology, she should be there alongside Boruto, Naruto, and Sasuke fighting against the Otsutsuki level bad guys, and even other side characters like Shikadai, other side characters like Chocho, like Iwabe, like even Shinki. You feel me? Because we know that Gaara at the end got kind of phased out with the Madara and Kage stuff. I think those guys should all be kind of augmented with scientific technology. And of course, as I said earlier, if it's not the importance with Sumire, if it's not Amato, it should be Sumire, because Sumire is right there with Amato learning all of this stuff. Now, we might not completely trust Amato, we might completely trust Sumire, so Sumire should be the one to actually modify a lot of the other gains and a lot of the other higher ranking ninjas in the Hidden Leaf Village and all the other nations out there.